Okay, this portion of the video discusses the testing. Now, to be clear, the testing that Amy just spoke about are required tests. Those are not anything that you have a choice or we have a choice about because they're required by our state laws. But genetic testing is a different animal. It's required that we offer it, but it's not required that you have it, and some of your insurance companies may not even cover it. So, to begin with, I'd like to spend time talking about just routine genetic testing. The first type of test that we offer is what's called a nuchal bun test, and it's done on low-risk individuals, and it's pretty much become standard of care for us to offer that, and most of your insurance companies will cover it. It's not an exact test, but it's a test that, if done, will greatly reduce the chances that you'll have a baby with a chromosome problem, such as Down syndrome. That test consists of an ultrasound at 12 weeks where we measure certain parts of the baby, and then we also draw blood at 12 weeks and then again at 16 weeks. All of that information plus your weight and certain other characteristics are put into an algorithm, and then a number comes out. And what that does is basically says, instead of your chances of having a baby with Down syndrome being 1 in 500 based on your age, now your chances might be 1 in 5,000. So while it doesn't completely eliminate the risk, it does greatly reduce it, and it should provide good peace of mind. The other testing that is considered available but not necessary unless you're high risk, which means you're either over 35 years of age, or you've had a child with a previous chromosomal abnormality or a strong family history, is the DNA testing. And we call it the Harmony test. And it's called cell-free DNA because it basically checks your blood and it detects actual fetal DNA. And it's able to give us a definitive answer as to not only the sex of the child, but whether or not the chromosomes are normal. Now, most insurance companies do cover this for people who are considered, quote, at risk. But most insurance companies at this point are all over the place as to whether they're going to cover it on low-risk people. And it would be your obligation to call your insurance companies to find out if it would be covered. Again, I don't feel that it is necessary to have this test if you aren't at high risk, but a lot of women have chosen to take on the additional expense so that they can either find out the sex early and be more reassured that they do have a normal pregnancy. So those tests are the genetic tests that are available for the baby. There is another test that we call the counsel test, which is actually a test on you, the parents. And the purpose of that test is to determine whether or not you carry a gene, a recessive gene, for any one of a number of genetic diseases. The one that's most commonly recognized is cystic fibrosis, but there are a multitude of other ones, especially if you are of Jewish ancestry. Now, the important thing here is that if you are normal, then there is absolutely no need to test your spouse. But if you come back with an abnormality, then it would be necessary to test your spouse, because if he carries the gene, the same gene that you carry, then it could be a problem for your offspring. This is a test that's generally done only once, provided you have the same spouse. It's done only once. And again, it's something that you may or may want to consider, but it's nothing that's required. It's kind of just a glimpse into your own genetic history to see whether or not you have anything to worry about in the future.